What's up? What's up? Good morning, everybody. To those who are watching from Central Texas, we are here with the Real Estate Power Play podcast, where we come to you live every Tuesday. And we normally have a group of guys together, and we just end up talking about the real estate, what we could do to help you build your business in real estate investing, building your business in general, market trends, what's happening in the market, and you name it. So today, we're going to go over some really cool stuff, just basically about being positive in this current market. All right. So we're hearing a lot of the scuttle, the stuff that's happening behind the scenes, the stuff that you see in the news and everything else. Today is, what is today's date? Today is July 26th for those who are listening. And we're just seeing a lot of crazy stuff happening. So as right when I pressed play, one guy just bounced off, Mark, and then Ronnie got knocked out. So it's going to be just me for a little bit. So we decided to go over like just keeping a positive attitude, positive mindset, things that you could be doing to grow your business right now. I'm a relationship building type guy. That's just what I do. It's how I build majority of my business. It's how I look at things. What's up, Ronnie? How you doing?
Dude, we went live. I got kicked out.
You got booted, brother. It's all right, man. We got you on here. So, right, so we're doing stuff here, and we're just talking about just watching how we have our energy level and positivity and what we're doing. And this isn't fluff, guys. This is stuff that you're going to have to encourage yourself through a unique market cycle, right? That's coming our way, and everyone kind of sees that. So it's not a surprise. No one's shocked over this. Eventually markets do different things, and this is where we are. So what we want to do, though, is to encourage and to support, and let's do some deals together. Let's do some other stuff together. Let's talk about real estate investing and how we can help each other grow. If you guys have questions about content that we have, how do we grab our data files? How do we grab any of our stuff? How do we buy properties? How are we doing it? I got some stories I want to share with you, bro, that I think would help everybody. But just how we build our businesses in real estate, or if you're just getting started, any questions, we'd be happy to answer them and go over them to just help you build your business. So, Ronnie,
yes,
I just did the intro. You just logged off for whatever reason. You didn't want to hear my intro. Well, it was awesome. All right. I'm going to pat myself on the back. All right. So how you been? What's been happening? Things are exciting.
Things are exciting. It's been very very good. The couple projects that we're working on, we're actually doubling down on finding houses and talking to sellers. At this time, this is the opportunity to really dig down, and the more that we're marketing, the more that we're connecting with sellers, the more opportunity is there. And so I'm building my team. Just brought somebody on our construction team. We brought on someone else, and then my wife has decided she wanted to do the design. So that's been a huge project of mine, and I'm really, really excited. There's a book out there, guys, a kind of a book drop. It's called How to Be a Fierce Competitor.
Cool.
And it's specifically in hard times, right? Like, what do you do in hard times, bro? Right. And one of the things the book talked about was, you got to answer your phone. You got to be active. You can't just be passive on the side. Like you shared a podcast over to us, and right at the beginning, the guy says, he's like, you can either be one who waits, or you can be one who waits for nothing. Right. And I love that mentality. And I think just kicking back, realizing, people have been waiting for this for 5-6 years.
Oh yeah.
And now it's here. And now is when, people are getting filtered out. people are stopping, and just more and more opportunity is coming. And so I am super excited, bro. I'm very excited. I'm excited to hear your stories, what you got going on. I've got some stuff that's been going on that I can share behind the scenes, and some people that I've been connecting with and meeting. This is a good time to be involved.
Good. Hey, you might want to check your mic. I'm gonna bring it a little bit closer.
Yeah.
So guys, so we're gonna go over some of that stuff. Just competition, how to be out there, how to be a competitor. One of the things I tell my kids when we go running in the morning and stuff, and we're a soccer family. For those who don't know, and they're tired. This is like the last half mile. They're ready to go in, and I have them do, normally they're running with the balls on their feet, right? So I always want them touching that ball. So I'm just keep on repeating to them.
Yep.
Hey, look, successful people, this is not convenient. Success is not convenient. And then I'll have them say, hey, this is not convenient. And guys, we're entering into a time where if you really want to acquire some really net worth, right? One of my mentors says that they're in the downward cycles where you really build your wealth, right? They're in the upward cycles where you just make your money. You're just doing well. It's not easy, not hard. I don't know how, countless mortgage brokers, insurance people that are in the service industry have told me the last 2 years that this has been the best years they've ever had in their whole careers, and they've been around for years, and they're like, this is crazy. This is booming. This is what's happening. But I know, because I've seen the cycles and I know how to read cycles, that, things come down for a dip. And so are you prepared? So we're not going to go so much into preparedness right now. We're going to go more into just basically the mindset that you have to have right now to stay positive, get in the game, be fierce, be a competitor, be aggressive with what you're doing. And so we're going to jump into that right now. So guys, one of the things that I am going to call that you need to do, and I did a short clip on it this morning. I got out of the gym. I'm like, I got to talk about this. So I put it on Facebook Live, but it's make sure that well that you've been digging around and that you're doing that well of opportunity, the well of relationships. I share this with so many different people, but like, if you feel really dry right now, it's because you have a shallow well, right? Like you're not going and saying, okay, like I need to grab some water from something I've just dug. Right. And the most successful people actually do it rather quickly, right? You can catch yourself. You can catch yourself when you're off kilter, when you're off point, and you're going, you know what? Let me reset. Let me rebalance. Dude, I had 3 great opportunity things that happened yesterday. You were at the end of it. The freaking 10:30, 11 o'clock at night sends me some stuff. And I'm like, this is game changer, right? So you're the 3rd one of the day. But in the middle of that, I got sacked by one of our lenders on a refi. And I'm going, what the heck? Like literally, I'm telling the person to leave my house, the notary, because I'm like, I'm not signing these documents. These are wrong. So, and so immediately that happens. You kind of get offset. And I'm like, you know what? I still have another day left. I still have day 3 left in my day. There's still stuff to do to end strong. So
tell me,
how does that work? How do we do that?
Yeah. So tell me, building a strong network, for me, it's all about staying connected in front of people and revisiting people that I've connected with in the past and understanding, hey, this is how what is the problem I can solve, right? And then understanding what my network is looking for in this time and being able to then connect with them in position to say, okay, let's unpack what you're going through, what I'm going through, what I'm seeing, what you're seeing. Let's figure out how to add value to each other. So I guess my question that I have for you is tell me your strategy coming into this time, and strategy specifically for connecting with people and connecting with more people to work together through the downturn, right? Because it's like a cord of 3 is hard to be broken, right?
Right.
And I think that applies to networking. Right. And when I'm connected with him and I'm connected with him and I'm connected with him, all of a sudden I have this bond with other people that are in the same industry that I am, that are plugging away and going to win. And we're all able to share strategies and win together. So tell me about your strategy and kind of what you're thinking and how you're building that.
Yeah, totally. So during these times, like, so I have naturally just been the type of person that's been a long-term planner when it comes to stuff like that, just because I care about that. I like to see people grow, the networking group, the different stuff that we run, just the many things that we do as a family and as a business. I just like that, right? And I've learned from whenever I used to run a construction company that your network is really how you get a lot of your business, and you can limit a lot of your expenses. Whenever I ran a construction company, a lot of it was based basically off of referral programs, and like, hey, look, do a good job for someone else, and they're referring the whole street to you, right? Of rehabs, and remodels and stuff. So I would have one crew just for remodels of homes that people were living in, and then a couple for the rehab company, right? And all that's just based off a referral. And I learned back then that, hey, your name means something: good quality, timely manner, being punctual. All those things really do matter, and that's part of your sell, right? It's part of who you are. So what are you doing right now? Now, being a differentiator right now, you got to figure it out. Like, I'm a comical type guy, but when you get me into the boardroom, like, we're talking business, and we'll probably talk about some hard things, and we're gonna hash it out. It's gonna hurt sometimes, and we're knocking out. Yesterday, we had kind of a board meeting type discussion in our company with someone who kind of try to do something right that we didn't approve of, and I'm like, okay, let's recap. This is what we're gonna do, and you go after it. And then after that, when I'm connecting with people, I'm a easy connector, right? I don't try to make it overcomplicated, and I definitely don't try to take things too long. Connected with another gentleman today. He does multifamily. We were friends for years, Ronnie, and still haven't done a major deal together. But because of different contacts, we're talking. I have somebody for that. Let me just send you someone's number. Have you tried calling so-and-so? Yeah. And then he goes, hey, Gabe, I have this other contact for you. Great. We have yet to do a big transaction together, right? Small little bitty ones, great. But he lost my number, okay? And his Android flip swatch over thing, right? Because he doesn't have Apple. So during that, he loses a lot of numbers. He connects with me on social, LinkedIn. And the point is, I'm joking back with him, and I'm telling him, I was like, dude, this is totally spam. I'm not answering this, right? And he's like, you have to be joking with me. And the reality, the reason why I'm sharing this story is because I think that some people just overthink the relational side. I have built myself to a place where I can have great conversations and connect with people, joke around, and be lighthearted about it. And then when it comes to the deals, like, we're getting down to brass tacks, and we're in it. Like, we're fighting. I think that some people run into the situation where they try to do that without building a rapport. And then there's another situation where people don't know that that's actually the well of information. That's really the well of relationships that you need to be digging into. You need to either dig that well deeper, or you need to go back to those relationships 5, 6, 7 years from now and pull some of that stuff out of there and go, wait, I remember this contact, right? And I think that if you can just understand that part of going, this is a part of your business that will be with you forever. Your name, you will never get rid of. Okay. It is your name forever. So do good business, have good character, right? And as you build, you can go back and establish relationships, right? And you can go back and go, hey, we've talked today. One of my Airbnb guys, he's one of the top guys in the Houston area. And I'm like, hey, I want to go down to Galveston, just get away before a couple of days before school starts. What do you have? And I haven't talked to him in probably like 6 months. And then we're talking about deals. We're doing other stuff, right? We're just connecting. What do you need? What do I need? Really fast. And then we move on. Let's go grab some lunch. Let's do this. Yeah, sure. Let's do it next week. Cool. All right. I'll talk to you later. And then that's it, guys. Don't overcomplicate any of this, because the way the market's changing right now, that you're going to want to spend your time on the quality things, right? And one of the quality things, like I would say, is definitely going back to your database, going back to your friends, going back to your lists, going back to some of the things that you might have taken for granted when everything's just coming in and you can sell at any time and all that stuff, and start building those things strong, right? So that's my take.
I really like that, man. I think the idea of like strengthening your bases, right? That idea of strengthening your bases. So, Mark, tell us. I want to know in your world how you are transitioning your mindset with things that are happening and staying positive and focusing on the money. And what are you doing in your own personal life to kind of stay focused on the things that really matter?
Yeah. So how you guys doing, by the way? Sorry, jumping in late, but yeah. So what I'm doing, and I've always done it in the past, is, and I've been through this cycle a few different times besides real estate and other businesses. So I kind of, when you start to see things happening, you just start adapting ahead of time and start being proactive, and start, putting different processes and procedures in place. Ronnie, you and I, we chatted briefly, putting back into some systems that didn't work before when the market was so hot, and now I'm putting some systems back in place so that market's starting to come back. But when I everybody feels this way, and it's all mindset. We all go through a process. It doesn't matter how successful you are. We all push ourselves to another limit, and when we're pushing ourselves to a limit, like we're almost like, are we pushing ourselves too far? And then you get that feeling. You ever get that feeling in your gut and it drops? I'm like, oh crap. And we're all like, oh, you want to kind of go into the corner and kind of, get in a fetal ball position, that type of situation. So what I do is I normally will start doing some more motivation books, podcasts. I always go back to the book, The Secret. Always, every time. I always do that book every couple of years. And when I feel that way, or I kind of feel myself going like that, I will first of all start surrounding myself with more positive mind people, so that's lifting me up. Because whoever you surround yourself with, that's really how you'll deal. You're lifting yourself up to that level. Cops hang out with cops, physicians hang out with physicians. I hate to say it, drug addicts hang out with drug addicts. I hate to say that, but you just start surrounding yourself and those positive mind people, and they're just going to lift you in return. They'll pull you along with them. I hate to say it, but you also want to provide some value there. But that's usually what I do, is like, if I feel that position, or I whenever I feel that way, I just go ahead and start working on my mind. It's just like the gym, when you go to the gym, people go to the gym and are like, they weigh 300-400 pounds, or like, work out like 4 times. Why am I losing 50 pounds? It's the same thing with your mind. You have to constantly work on your mind. It doesn't just happen 1 or 2 times. So that's kind of what I tend to do, is just like focus on that, surround myself with positive people, and just kind of keep my mindset at ease. You just deal with those challenges.
That's really, really good. I think the power, it's not what you know. A lot of times it's who you know, right? And it's positioning yourself to know the right people. And I think as you're connecting with people, it gives us confidence. Warren Buffett, to kind of reset the stage in this positive mindset, I've constantly gone back to this, be greedy when other people are fearful, and be fearful when other people are greedy. Well, guess what? Right now, people are very, very fearful, right? And if you just follow the crowd, like, you're going to miss out. But if you are looking for value, and I think that's it. When you're looking for value, whether that's in relationships, whether that's in properties, like, what is the true value here and what's available? I think the more that we're willing to put in the work, instead of being in our head and being like, oh, what do I think? What do I think? What do I think? I think so many people are doing that, and they're missing out. Where if you just start connecting with your network, start looking over every deal that comes to you, right? Like, looking at, there's a lot of other stuff, but then there's some gold that some people can't get rid of, right? Like, if wholesalers can't get rid of them, and you're like, hey, I'll help you. This is exactly what I'm looking for. You can cut through the noise. And the more that we can say, okay, what problems can I solve? And what do I really want? The more we can put that out in space, and the more people can respond to us, our network, the people we're working with. It's just, hey, this is what I want. This is what I'm looking with. This is what I'm working on. So Gabe, keeping a positive mindset in the current market, you talked about having hard meetings, you talked about, brass tacks with looking at the properties and jumping in. What's the difference? And I'd be curious to kind of see is how do you maintain the positive attitude when you're also in the midst of, hard changes? Is it vision casting? Hey guys, this is who we can be. This is what we're overcoming. This is the end goal. Is it personal, development on them? Like, what are you doing in the midst of hard conversations to keep people motivated, whether that's your team, your network, when everyone else is around you? How do you demonstrate leadership qualities in a time like this?
This is good. So one of the things that is a blessing for us is that we saw this coming, like in the beginning of this year, is very evident. This is what's going to happen. Right around March, April, I actually just had a team meeting Friday, and I was like, guys, man, and they were complimenting each other, like, man, we came up with this idea together. Like, I'm bringing the team into the dynamic of what we're doing here, right? And I'm like, okay, I see this happening. What do you think? What are you hearing? What's going on the phone calls? What's happening here? And this was back in April. And I go, look, there's going to be a day. And when that day comes, we will be ready. And so it does help to have a little bit of foresight to where your team's going, wow, Gabe was right. That does help out your whole team and the energy level. The other stuff around is that, like, there's always opportunities around. Like, there's opportunities now, right? So if it's a down market, you just have to look at the opportunities that are around, right? And you have to look at it in that way. So for us, we're pivoting. We've already pivoted most of our business anyways. And so we're in a very strong position to really take advantage of the situation that's at hand. I don't want to say it in a negative way, but we're going to be able to help out a ton of people, right? And that's the way I look at it. And so whenever I have someone who might be in a tight situation and they need to move on from an asset, and they're just like, look, man, I just need to move on. I'm going, okay, well, let's figure out some different strategies that can help you move on. Obviously, I can only do so much. But if it works for me, I'll buy it, and I got a team and I got my other stuff that we're working on. They'll be able to produce. To keep everything at an energy at a high level, that's all me, right? That is no one else's responsibility but mine. I do not put it on anyone else. It is not on my kids. It's not on my family. It's not on the events of the day. It is not on anything else. It is extreme ownership of going, it's your attitude. There's nobody else around. So someone else might try to give me, flack or whatever. But, once you get off the phone or whatever situation might happen, you go, okay, let me turn it around. I got another opportunity. Let's take another swing. And so if you look at it from I like to use these sports analogies because it makes so much sense. Like we watch baseball, like you see one pitcher, on the mound, and you have the batter. Those are the only two things that matter in the whole game, right? At that very moment. And whoever's going to swing and hit and whoever's going to pitch, right? That's the most important part of that moment. And that's where the camera's on every time. And the batter has to be in the mindset that every pitch is the one. Yeah. Right. And I'm not it could be, well, you need to pass on this one, or that's something I don't want to hit, but you still have to have a mindset of like, I don't know what this guy's going to throw down, but I need to have a mindset of like, I'm going to freaking go yard in this thing, or I'm going to put it over here. I'm going to put specific, like, you know what I mean? Like they have to have the mindset every pitch. And that's something that how we have to put ourselves in that position of going, just be in the mindset every pitch. And you can't do that by being, lethargic or low energy. I mean, this is the time where you have to make yourself get energized. You've got to do jumping jacks, you do jumping jacks. You got to do walks in the morning, do walks in the morning.
Can I add to that?
Sure.
I think the energy stuff, that state mentality of making sure you have the energy, but I think a big part of that, like positive thinking and jumping in, is literally taking time to think, right? I think a huge part of going through and adjusting your strategy now is taking a step back and not reacting, right? Like not reacting to everything that happens, not just, X, Y, Z, let me do this, let me do that. And just like freaking out and being, just that kind of feeling, but really to able to step back and take a little bit of time every single week and think through the scenarios. There's a book, The Road Less Stupid, right? And in The Road Less Stupid, he talks about sit down and ask yourself, what am I missing? What am I walking through? How could I make my business better? What types of properties could I buy? What is the market doing right now? And where is the opportunity? And allow your mind to figure out the paths to go. And for me, this is massively energizing. Like I've taken more time before. I already had a habit of sitting down and doing thinking time. I'm doing more thinking time now just to, okay, let me get everything out of my head. Okay, here's my journaling. Here's my thoughts. Here's my thoughts with personal. Here's my thoughts with the market. Here's my thoughts with real estate. All of those things. And just being able to get that out and say, okay, what do I want to do? This is where I want to focus. I got these 3 projects right now. This is where the money's at. And then being able to dilute that, or instead of having diluted focus, being able to pick 1 or 2 things and run after that. So yeah, I think that's on top of what you're saying. Man, for me, a lot of people don't know, like I go to Panera. Like Panera is like the place where I can just kind of get away and sit down and relax. A lot of people like that's distracting. But for me, that's like the environment. I can look out the window, I can sit there, and I can just open up my thoughts and nobody's around. When I'm in my house, I feel kind of cooped up, right? I'm like, gosh, I'm here all the time. I need to change this environment. So that's one, I think, just as we're plugging away, guys, as we are growing and we're going through getting squeezed and getting squeezed, not so much by the market, but by our own thoughts, right? I think that's the thing is we start second guessing ourselves. We start thinking about this is figure out what you really want and what makes you excited and focus on projects to accomplish that. And then connecting with other people, I think is key. Mark, do you have anything to add to that?
Yeah. I mean, if you think of the rule, you know, a lot of times people lose focus, and you guys both keep mentioning thoughts, you know, your thoughts. So if you understand your thoughts, you know, your thoughts end up, and then from your thoughts, then your feelings, and then from your feelings is your behavior. So if you control your thoughts, then your thoughts are going to control your feelings, and your feelings are going to control your behavior. So always keep that in mind. But let's talk a little bit. I want to ask you both gentlemen some resources, which you guys do, books, audiobooks, podcasts, whatever, that's good for motivation, positive mindset. Then also anybody that's listening, because I actually had somebody last week I was talking to about this, and they're bilingual, but mainly Spanish is the main, and they have a problem a little bit with English. So if anybody's listening, you know, please pop below of different, like in Spanish or a different language that you guys know of, any motivational mindset, positive mind, anything like that to share with everybody. So how about you, Gabe? You go first. What is some of what you're thinking of that's always helped you for resources?
Yeah. So I have, number one is for Ed Milet. All right. Andy Frisella. Right. Those are the 2 that I really enjoy. And if you get into those and you can go on the YouTube, and I actually have my own folder now. For those who don't know, you can just create your own folders. I have my own folders all set up in different things. And I just save, I probably have 10 or 12 motivational YouTube videos that I listen to sometime to working out, or someone might send something to me, and then I just press the save button and I click it over, and it's in my place to, you know, if I ever need a pep or you know, something else, and I don't want to make a phone call to anybody, and I just want me and the road, if I'm doing my morning routine or something, that's something that I would do. Strongly advise. Obviously Tony Robbins is great stuff that you could have from there. And just really encouraging to help your business grow. Because what happens is once you listen to these things, you're also picking up other content from them and other people they might have on, other interviews and stuff they do that I just really enjoy having. So, yeah. And then, yeah, that's pretty much the basics for me.
Ronnie, how about you? What do you recommend for your go-to?
Yeah. So, right now, a lot of my stuff is just books. Like I'm reading a lot of books. I just finished Atlas Shrugged. I don't know if you guys have read that. It's really good for capitalism and why thinking through hard times is really good. And and it's got a whole different premise that I really enjoy. I'm not going to go into that. And for me, what's been really encouraging for me is leadership books, especially right now, because it's on the leader. Gabe mentioned this just a minute ago, and I thought it was so good. So guys, don't miss this. Is Gabe takes extreme ownership to make sure that it's him who brings the energy. It's him who has the right attitude. He is the leader. And one of the guys I really like, he says, good times, he says, strong men create good times. Good times creates weak men. Weak men create bad times, and bad times create strong men. And the idea there is not male versus female, but the idea there is when things are bad, leaders rise. There's a book called I just reread it. It's up here. It's one of my favorites. It's called Lincoln on Leadership, and it's Lincoln's leadership strategies. Right? Talk about a guy, dealing with war and some of the craziest situations. Guys, we are in a time where we are going to have to shoulder crazy situations, and we can do one of two things. We can either buckle, we can say, I'm out, we can step out, or we can go to war. And we can realize that, if I go to war, which is inserting in the marketplace, if I go, I can bring back a fortune. And so for me, just recently is I get so fired up on like reading books about hard times. I know this is crazy. There's another book by Ben Horowitz called The Hard Thing About Hard Things, right? It's like, when things are tough, or you read stories on war. I got another one down here I just picked up called Strategy by Friedman about the history of strategy. Like,
cool.
Dude, things happen. Like the world changes, guys, when life is tough. Like the world changes in changing world orders, right? Things adjust. And I want to be in the game while that happens. And so Mark, when you ask what is motivational, I'm not looking for, at least not anymore, and I don't have a problem with it. I'm not looking for, you can do it. Like, I'm not looking for that stuff. What I am looking for, and what does pump me up, is reading stories about people who survived and who thrived during downturns. That stuff, guys, when you read about Winston Churchill and he was all alone in the war and everybody turned against him, he stood on his own 2 feet. He believed in his own thoughts, his own mind, and he changed the world. And it's like, man, that stuff gets me pumped. So anyway, that's what I find motivational. You're muted.
That's awesome. What about you, Mark?
Thanks. That's great stuff. I love it. So what I recommend, I don't know if you guys ever heard, this is old time, Earl Nightingale. I don't know if you guys remember him. I really love his stuff. Like, he's old school. He kind of reminds me of my grandfather, when he first taped it, or when he did it, it was actually in a record player. That's how long ago it was. And, he went on a trip, but there's a couple of things that really stick in my mind that he always says in his book, and his motivation is like, he's always talking about this big freighter ship out there. If the freighter ship is out there and you set the freighter ship heading at a destination and it's going to crash into a port, and you don't do anything and you just let it go, what's the results? But you take control, and you can control that freighter ship. Or he also uses a description of when they're paving the road, going down the road, like, they're always on a destination, they're always programming it. Or programming seeds, that same analogy too. If you're planting seeds in the ground, if you're growing beautiful roses, that's what's going to grow. But if you're planting toxic poison, that's what's going to grow. So I love that one. And I always keep talking about The Secret. The Secret is one that, I'm going to be frank, it really changed my life. The Secret. It really, back in my early 30s, I used to hang around people, actually my 20s, I used to hang around people that were kind of a lot of negative friends, and believe it or not, family. And The Secret just woke me up, and I cut out about 85% of my friends during that time period. And I was alone for about 6 to 8 months and just kind of focused on my mind and my health being and wine being. And that really changed my life. And this was in my 30s. So that's one of the two things that I highly recommend. And then I always just listen to, share when I hear people like we all are sharing stuff within each other in our groups of sharing positive mind things around. And I recommend that. Like if you find some friends and if you find something positive mindset, share it with some people that you think will like it. And then in turn, they'll start sharing some stuff back to you in return. So those are the things that I recommend if you're trying to work on mindset. But I do got to congratulate you. If you're sitting here listening to this podcast, you're actually taking a step in learning this learning this process. So I congratulate you guys on that. But Ronnie, you're going to say something?
Dude, I think that's amazing. And guys, being, talking about keeping that positive mindset, so I was talking to my son, Jude, literally 2 days ago, and we're kind of, dreaming about what he wants. And he's like, I want to be an engineer and I want to build this. And then he's like, I want to go to space and I want to work with Elon Musk. And then he's like, I want to, on the weekends, I want to go to a bakery. I want to own a bakery. And he's like sharing all these things. And, from a child's perspective, there's no limit, right? There's no reason why you can't do it. It's only when we get and become an adult that our logic kicks in. And it's like, these are all the reasons why it's so difficult. Here are all the roadblocks. But as a kid, you let your imagination wander and think of how much growth happens from a kid's psyche from the time they're, 8 to 17, how much they're able to accomplish simply because they don't have this limiting belief like, oh, that's so hard. Like, it's just, they're constantly improving. And a lot of times we overestimate what we can do in 6 to 12 months, but we overestimate what we can do in 6 to 12 months, and then we underestimate who we're going to be in 5 years. And so what we're going through today, if we can have that attitude of the kid, right? That childlike mentality of like, I'm growing no matter what I go through. I'm going to enjoy the journey no matter what it is. In 5 years from now, think of the habits and what you're going to accomplish and the growth you're going to have. And man, that's so encouraging to me, just sitting there talking to him and being like, man, I want to be a little bit more childlike. I want to be a little bit more, I want to be a little bit more encouraging. Like, they have such a lightness to them. I want some of that back. Like, that's infectious. And I want to be a person in my marketplace where when you hang out with me, it's not like downer. It's light. It's exciting. It's, oh man, there's fire. And being that person, creating that changes your environment. So, Gabe, were you going to add to that?
No, I mean, guys, we're talking about real estate investing, guys, and just having a great positive mindset as we go through different cycles, right? And so if you want to make this really tough and really hard, it's going to be. I mean, that's just kind of how it is. I mean, sometimes you need a little bit of tough love, and this is a little bit of tough love, right? Like, if you want to make it tough, if you want to go through it all the hard way, then it's going to happen the hard way. The reality is this is going to happen either way, whether you're in the game and you're on your A game and you're ready to roll forward or not. This will happen to our market cycle. We're in the middle or in the beginning of it. And you can look at it and say, okay, maybe I'm not seeing the end picture in mind. Maybe it just looks kind of gloomy right now. Maybe it's looking rough right now. However, you could look at it in a way of saying there's some awesome opportunity. Who do I know right now? Whether it's Gabe, Mark, Ronnie, Marty, whether it's somebody. So find somebody that has made it through a cycle or who's having a great time right now and go, look, dude, I don't want to be an energy drainer. I just want to grab a little bit of like fire from you so I could take it back to my own camp. Like, let me just tag along for a day, or what's happening right now? What are you doing? So I'm having some amazing conversations with people that I've never had before. Right. And it's because when you make that circle, and I used to have these big circles of people, and now I have them down to a small group of people that are just in my inner circle, but they're all fire. And if you're all fire, right, and you look around and you see someone else who's fire, you're like, dude, I want some of that in my life. Let's get going. Let's go after it, right? This is what you're going to find, though. And this is what I think that we really need to hammer this out, because you can't just have a positive attitude. This is what you're going to find out. Okay, guys, you're going to find out that there's extreme accountability. All right. When it comes to your attitude changing or where you are, you're going to find out, right, that you are going to be around people, right, that are going to take extreme accountability. They want to take action. They're okay with being busy. Okay. And this is the thing I was telling my wife the other day. She was inviting some friends to do some other stuff. And she's like, man, I know they're really busy. They're doing these other things. They're moving. They're, doing all these different things in their house and stuff. And I'm going, hey, listen, they're successful people too. They're used to getting text messages at 11 o'clock at night. It's okay. Right. And so that's the thing that I think people misunderstand. If you're coming from maybe a W-2 or you don't want to text, the people that text me late in the evening are the ones that are actually doing things. I like that. I might not answer you till the next morning. Right. Like,
bro, Gabe, what time did I text you last night?
It was late, bro. It was late. It was late my time. So I know it's late your time.
It was almost 1 a.m.
Yeah, and it was a happenstance. It was a happenstance that I even answered. Okay, I looked over and I said, "Ronnie, text me." So, but the point is, right, that if you're in the groove and you're doing it and you're moving forward, you have groups of people around you, right? Or you need to have groups of people around you that are always pushing that envelope. You're gonna find extreme accountability. Number one. You're going to find extreme action takers. Why? Because everybody who knows, and mark this, guys, mark this, get this. Everybody who's gone through either a cycle before or who've tried their hardest or pushed hard to get to where they are, they don't have the energy for time sucks, and they don't have the energy to give to somebody who's just going to drain it and take it away from them when they work so hard to acquire it. Right. And so, one of my mentors, he's like, dude, I don't like to be late at all. Don't make me late to anything. Right. And that's the way that he holds his standards. And that's one of the things that Let's talk about. And I just want to share, like, if you're looking at changing the way you look at this market, you can change your goals. Your goals might need a pivot. I understand. But one of the things that Ed Mylett says is just go ahead and change your standards. Right. Like, you're expecting a different outcome, or maybe you're willing to tolerate a little bit of not getting back to the person right away, or being a little lackadaisical, or maybe you're, you had so many deals coming in, the deal flow was great. Now it's not. Guys, I know lenders right now that have lost over 50% right now, 50% of their pull right now. And I'm going, okay, well, you can be hurt about it because a lot of people are pulling out because rates are changing and stuff. Or you can go and say, okay, that just means I know how to do this. I've done this before. I'm going to get creative. I'm going to get back on the horse and I'm going to go after it. And the people around me are going to be going in this one direction. And I'm going to raise my standards to what I expect out of myself. And by doing that, you just eliminate the other junk from coming in. And this is the key that I had to really get in my life. Mark was talking about it just a while ago. No one else knows, by the way, that you just raised your standard. Hell, you might not even know the full extent of the standard that you've raised. Of going, I need to raise my standard. I'm going to start hitting the gym. You might not even realize, your body doesn't even know this person's about to put me through pain, right? But the reality is, you have to start setting those things in place so that way other people can start seeing it. It's not their fault. It's not your wife's fault. It's not your spouse's fault. Your kids, your family members, they might not know that you just changed your standards of saying, I'm up in my game. So you have to set it in place long enough for people around you to go, wow, he really is up in his game. I remember coming to church one day, and this is after I started learning how to go vertical. This is my phrase. I just go for it. And I remember me talking about it, talking. And finally, it took 6 months. I changed the way I dressed all the time. Right. I'm going to change. I'm going to start dressing this way, and I'm going to start doing this, and I'm going to start doing this other stuff. And I just started changing who I was. And I remember someone goes, I heard them out of my ear, like way off in the distance. They go, dang, Gabe really is going vertical. Look at that. And I'm going, okay, phase 1 complete, right? People are starting to see, don't mess with this. And guys, you have to raise that standard. So Marty's on here. He's talking about changing the family tree. What is he saying? You're going to be somewhere. What is Marty saying over here? You're going to be somewhere in 20 years. Are you going to be invisible or the family hero? That's so cool, right? Like, what are you setting the standard for your family? And that's what keeps me motivated whenever it's a bad day. I'm like, listen, I'm still the one. I'm still the one that's going to change things. I'm still going to change other people's lives. I'm still going to, buy real estate, buy assets. I mean, guys, once you get involved with real estate investing, it is so much fun. You kind of ask yourself, if this is something that you're called to do and you're just like really enjoy it, I don't know what else I would want to do. I mean, I get to travel, I get to do this, I get to do this other stuff. I get relationships. It's good money. I get to build net worth, and I'm hanging out with my family. What else do I want to do? Right. And so those are things, though, that I want to just really push out there to this group of people that are listening right now, that, whether you're going on hard times or you're like want to get fired up going, I'm ready for this season. Raise that standard for yourself. It's no one else's responsibility but yours. That's all I got.
Yeah, I love it. So Mark, I got a question for you. You asked us about resources, and we're coming to the end of the hour. So, or we're close to it. Let's put it that way. In this time, things are changing. Is there any resources that outside of just mindset, but like, where do you, because I know you pull a lot of information. Where do you, if you were to say, hey guys, focus here, where would you point people's focus to?
It depends on what you're asking. Are you talking about where the real estate market's going, or just in general in life?
Either, whichever one you think is more important at this point, right?
Well, if you're a real estate, so if you're a real estate investor and this is your first time going through a market pullback since you've been in real estate, because I mean the market's been in a tear for 12, 14 years now, since 2010-ish, roughly 12 years, whatever it may be. I would look at, during that pullback, what assets and what sectors were doing well. Start talking to people that were in that moment, in that time, and kind of see what they did, and talk to the ones that made it through. What did they do to succeed and how they got through it. So that's kind of what I would do on your resources. You just start reaching out to people and just start picking their brain. Just like when we got into real estate, we started reaching out to people. Hey, what is wholesaling? How you do this, and this? Do the same mindset, but now you have to kind of reverse that a little bit on that. And then if you're talking in life or whatever it may be, if you're talking health, working out, I see somebody that's fit, I'm going to ask them questions. What do you do? All that. Or if I'm listening to somebody talking on a podcast or video, or if I go to a convention and I see, how positive mindset they are, then I'll try to reach out to them and try to pick their brain a little bit. So it's the same concept of whatever you're learning, a different strategy while the market's hot. I kind of will do the same thing and just reach out to people. And I did that, back in February, Gabe and I and Marty, we all met up, and we kind of, we're sitting there listening to these guys that have been in business for, 30, 40 years, and they've been through the cycle. So we're listening and paying attention what they were doing and how they were getting ahead of it and how they were protecting, for protection, if you will, of like litigating their risk. So that's kind of what I tend to do, and that's what I've been doing. But that's kind of where I go to my resources on that. So great question, though. But this was a great topic. And like I said, have you guys heard this book? What's this book here?
Ayn Rand.
Yeah. Have you ever heard of it?
Yeah, that's the book so Atlas Shrugged.
Yep.
So Ayn Rand's the author.
Awesome. So thanks for sharing that. So again, anybody, if you listen to this, please pop in any recommendations to share with the listeners or viewers or whatever, so we can all share and help each other. And that's just what we're here for, to try to provide some value to everybody. So, anyways,
Awesome.
Ronnie, I'll let you take it.
Awesome. Well, to wrap up, if you were to leave one thing with the group as a final nugget, we can circle the room, and then Gabe, if you want to end it for us, Gabe, what is your final nugget you want to leave everybody with?
Yeah, guys. I mean, just stay encouraged and keep plugging forward, building those relationships, building contacts, create, if you don't have a good CRM, just put something down so you can start connecting with people more, and just don't be shy, be aggressive with it.
Awesome. I love it. I would recommend, especially with the market shifting, don't wait. Don't, be proactive and be ahead of it. I mean, you're listening to everybody out there of what's happening in the market. You have to change course. If you don't change course, you're going to be in some trouble. So that's what I'd recommend. Just get ahead of it and don't be behind the ball on it. That's what I'd recommend.
Awesome. I think, guys, we've heard it said in real estate, there's 3 things that you need in real estate. You need knowledge, you need a network, and you need leads. And guys, go back to the fundamentals, right? Increase your knowledge, right? And that might be knowledge of market crash. You need a network. Connect with the people who are going to build zeros to their net worth. And 3, you need leads. You need properties to look at. If you're going to make money here, there is money to be made. So figure out what you want and how you're going to get it, and get those type of leads. And so, guys, there is huge upside. This is where people make the majority of their money. If you sit on the sidelines, you're going to sit on the sidelines. People made the most money in 2008, right? They kicked in, they came in, and they made millions of dollars. So be one of the people who suffers through the grind now, so you can come out on the other side in a way that, like Marty said, changing your family tree.
That's right.
Awesome.
All right, guys, if you like this, if you want to find out more information, if you want us to get somebody else on here that you want to interview, or you want us to interview and get more information from, let us know, share it, post it, and we'll see you guys later. See you. Peace.
Later. Oh, he went out.